So I'm going to go over the drama module in Blackboard. So here under course modules for our 1302 Blackboard, we can find module 2, the drama unit. So if we click on this, we will see general lecture materials and rubric, Norton lessons, model essays and model evidence interpretation charts, MLA documentation, reading quizzes, group activities, and submit essay and evidence interpretation chart assignments here. So we'll go through these. We'll go through the lecture last since it has the most stuff in it. We'll start with Norton lessons. So going to Norton lessons, there are going to be 2 Norton lessons for this week, one for each of the plays that we're going to be reading. So we're reading or watching 2 plays. The first one is August Wilson's Fences, and the second one is Lorraine Hansberry's Raisin in the Sun. So going through these 2 reading workshops, you'll be covering issues from both of the plays that we're reading. So I recommend reading the play first, watching the play first, and then looking into this workshop. And it's going to give you some exercises by which to do a close reading of the play. What's a close reading? It's looking at the play, not just superficially, but looking at the text and really analyzing what it says and trying to figure out the deeper meanings there. So those are 2 assignments for this week that should be pretty easy to knock out. The next thing, so for this unit, we're going to be writing an essay on one of these dramas. And the essay is going to be in MLA format. We're going to be using outside sources for this essay. So we're going to be using what's called evidence and interpretation charts. So we'll look at a model of what the essay will look like, and we'll also look at models of what these evidence and interpretation charts might look like. So here's 2 model essays that you could use. We'll look at, there's one on the dollhouse, one on the glass menagerie. We'll have a look here. And when you go into the models for evidence and interpretation charts, you'll see these blank evidence interpretation charts. So here's one for a play, and here's one for a secondary source. So when you cite your play, you'll use this one. When you cite your secondary source, you'll use this one. A secondary source, of course, is something that you got externally. So the primary source would be the play. The secondary source would be something else commenting on the play or related to the play that you're citing about it. And here's some examples of what evidence interpretation charts might look like. First, though, before we open those, we'll look at this model essay. Okay, so the model essay, it's going to be in MLA formatting. So we use typical MLA formatting. As you can see here, we have the header up here. We have the block with your name, the class, etc., etc. And then we're going to have the body here. So for this, this should be a good outline to use when you're writing your essay. Rather, it's an outline that you could use, and then it has the content within the outline, right? And then finally, you have your works cited at the end there, which is going to be anything that you cite inside of your article. Let's look at the second model essay so that we can look at one that that doesn't show you the outline. Oh, it looks like it might not be wanting to open for me. So we'll try to open an evidence about interpretation chart first. Okay, I'm having severe internet difficulties, it looks like. Okay, we'll wait for those to load and I'll go on to the next thing. So MLA documentation. So you're going to be writing the drama essay with MLA formatting. So here's an example, or rather a resource that you could use for MLA formatting. It's just going to tell you how to format and how to document sources when you use MLA. Oh, and it looks like our example essay has loaded. And as these things load, I'm going to move on to the reading quizzes. So the reading quiz, we're going to have a reading quiz for A Raisin in the Sun. So just read A Raisin in the Sun and then take the quiz. We're also going to have 2 group activities. So the first group activity is going to be, like last week, a group paragraph. We're also going to be doing a second group activity. It's going to be a group paragraph on one of these 2 topics. The first one is going to be a topic on a subject in the play, and you're going to explain the theme emerging from the subject. So here's some examples. Parent-child relationships, husband-wife relationships, the American dream, resentment, and fairness. All right, so here's an example of a possible essay that you might write. This essay is on the play Dollhouse, and you can see sort of what that essay might look like when it's finished. So you have paragraphs, and each paragraph is going to support your overall thesis. And you're going to be citing external sources in order to bolster that thesis and support some thesis about the themes in the play. What does an evidence interpretation chart look like? So here's a blank evidence interpretation chart. We have evidence on the one side, so this is factual information and quotation from the text you're reading. And then you have interpretation on the other side. So reasons the information is valuable and the way the information can be used in your own essay. So you're going to be filling that out for all of your sources. Basically, for all your sources, for any information that you gather from those sources that you think might be relevant to your final essay. And next we have works cited and in-text citations. So this is just a documentation of what your MLA might look like. So it's going to be teaching you how to cite your sources in MLA formatting. So here is how you might cite a book. Here's how you might cite it when it has one author and but when it has two authors or more than two authors. Something by an organization that also published the work, with an editor, with a translator, citing a chapter in a book, citing an audiobook, a play or short story published in a collection or anthology, a poem published in a collection or anthology, an indirect source, peer-reviewed journal, web sources, media. So these are the ways that you are going to cite the sources in your works cited. All right. Then you want to make sure you follow these formatting requirements as well. So those include 1-inch margins, double-spaced, readable font, set between 11 and 13, same font throughout the paper, first lines and paragraphs indented 1/2 inch, and 1 space after a period or concluding punctuation mark. You're going to have page numbers and no separate title page, but a title page if you're writing a group paper. You're also going to have a header. So here's what it might look like. So you have the header in the upper right corner with your name and the page number. You're also going to have your information here, your personal information, and then you're going to have the title here. So there's also some various more rules that you need to follow, but I'll let you look through those. And here's where you're going to submit your evidence and interpretation charts and your final essay. So let's look in these folders. Let's also start opening our lectures so we can go through those. All right. Oh, hello. Hello, sir.
I can saw the light on. You working late, huh?
Yeah, I was just preparing for the week. Yeah.
Okay.
So, do you need my name or anything?
No, it's okay. This is it.
Okay, thank you.